Hi there. Welcome. Welcome into my channel, into another live talk about life, about self worth, about self esteem, about our confidence. And when I am still waiting for some people to show up on actually a YouTube, I'm going to set up my talk on the other social media, on the Facebook. I wanted to welcome everyone. And so today I wanted to talk to you a little bit more actually about fear of judgment and fear of being rejected. So, what are we doing in order to not to be judged and in order not to be rejected? Like it seems like that would be the best. All right. So I wanted to welcome everyone that is going to join me for today's session. Whenever you are watching me, please take part in our conversation. Send me some chat, send me some thumbs up, send me some hearts. Today we will speak about fear of judgment and fear of rejection. So let's start. I always have points written down for me, so I am not circling around. So I have clarity here. Today we have 7 points to go over. So let's start with the first one. What are the roots actually of fear of judgment and rejection? So when we think about our lives, our beginning starts within our family. And so as children, when we are starting to grow, starting to learn about life, we observe our parents, we observe others that are taking care of us, and very quickly we are realizing the things that they like and the things that they don't like. And so then we start adjusting very slowly to bring more positive to us. Because as you probably know, there is pain and pleasure. And what is more pleasurable to have in life? Pleasure, right? So we want to make other people like us. And so it starts from the very childhood. So let's say if we had very harsh parents and they only were recognizing us when we did something like we studied so well and we had straight A's. That's where they noticed us and they liked us. But whenever we'll bring home a grade that would be lower than what was expected, we felt disappointment of our parent. And this disappointment feels very hard on a child. And so children are extremely intelligent. They can very quickly understand. It's like this emotional intelligence. Very quickly, they can understand what brings more joy into their life and what makes them feel that they are resisted. And so the beginning of fear of judgment comes from childhood because what we do, we are acting in a specific way to in order not to be rejected, to be loved and recognized. And if you know already about this, the 7 first years of our life is setting up our subconscious mind, our programs. It goes so deeply into our nervous system that we become that person for the rest of our life until we are understanding and deciding in a conscious level actually to make shifts in our life. So, number one was our family, and also social conditioning. So within the social conditioning, we observe what is accepted in the world and what is not accepted, and we want to be contained in that. We have a fear if what would happen if we go outside of what is expected, right? So this is very clear. Number two, we become pleasing. So when a child is obeying parent 100% of the times, even though they inside of themselves feel that it's unfair and it's sad and it's unfair, then when the child chooses to obey the parent without communicating own emotions, then the child is learning that somebody else has more value, more power than they do. And this unfairness that they feel inside of them is shoveled down. Say hi to me, whoever is here, always say hi to me. If you have any comments, anything that you want to say, please share with me. So we talk about fear of judgment and rejection, and now we are on second point. We are on pleasing as a defense mechanism. So let's say if we grew up within the family that was a lot of abuse. There was abuse in our family, and we actually learn how to be perfect in order to avoid unpleasant feelings, the unpleasant fears of being rejected. So when we start pleasing others, it's almost like we are wiping ourselves away from our power, our own power. So although we feel unfair, we are still choosing to do something that somebody else is expecting us instead of following our core, because we shovel down this core and put it away. And that's very hard later on to understand, because we are just set up as this internal program. And so just think about it, like when a parent was telling you, you're a good girl when you're this and this. You want to be recognized and loved by your parents, so you want to do more of this that is expected from you. And sometimes this is teaching us that doing things that others are happy with is the way to go. But each time we are choosing to please somebody else in order to avoid of being judged or being rejected, we are also forgetting about ourselves. And so like we put our own needs, our own desires on the side in order to just be present for somebody else. All right, so let's go to number three. Number three is self-sabotage. So sometimes we play small, and we do it because we have hard times being seen by others. And so our inner critic is going to sabotage us, is going to make us believe that what we do is not worthy to show up, or is not good enough to show what we have inside of us. So we keep ourselves very small in order not to be judged by anyone else. And so how is this really beneficial to us? If you got ask yourself a question, how do I benefit myself when I am passive, just traveler in my life? I ask that question myself very often. I ask this question my clients, because it's very important. Like, do you play small because you fear that somebody is going to dislike you? If somebody is going to dislike you, it is okay not to be liked by everyone else. But the more you are putting yourself in a small position, the actually less powerful you become. And so if you have this fear of being seen, just it's so good to release that, to work on this fear, because the truth is that the more you are actually becoming stronger within yourself, and the more you are allowing yourself to be seen, the more you're going to bring into your life people that will judge you for what you say, what you present, how you look. You have to be okay with that, but also at the same time, it inspires others also to do the same. So by you deciding to be strong, you're actually inviting others to do the same. And so we don't need to stay within this what is expected. You can go and you have freedom to get off the train as you used to be in, and then start your own life. And so this is very, very powerful. All right. So, number 4, we are talking today about fear of rejection and fear of judgment. So, number 4 is comparison. So, again, it starts when we are little. We go to school and we are comparing ourselves to our friends. How did you do on a math test? Oh, I did this and this. How did you do on this? This girl has this boyfriend and I don't. I must be not good enough. I cannot compare myself to this person because this person is rich. I am not rich. And so, like, this comparison is never ending, self punishing. And so the question is, how long are you going to punish yourself with comparing yourself to others? And so if you think about this, I always say that in my lives, but you have different life journey than I do. Our souls have totally different agendas in this lifetime. And so by you comparing yourself to others, you are actually wiping yourself off from your own power. That's really clear. By also, many people, and this I've noticed in more of like toxic, narcissistic kind of personalities, they will very often compare themselves to somebody that has less than them to make themselves feel better. So the only person that you should compare yourself to is yourself. How you are growing within yourself. Are you taking steps actually to wake up into your own potential? Or are you pushing yourself and pulling yourself to the back in order not to be seen? I've noticed this very, very clearly in my life. You know, when I was very quiet and I was behind the scenes, running business, doing things from behind the scenes, I was not placing myself in the position where I was seen, and I'll have to face some maybe difficult situations. But also, by me placing myself in a back burner, actually, I wanted to be seen, but at the same time, I was preventing myself maybe from taking responsibility to be in that first row position. So here's the question for you: what is the really fear of you being seen? Is this truly the only fear of rejection or fear of being judged, or it's also you holding into your own truth and high taking consequences and responsibility for your own standpoint? And this is very, very powerful. So again, when you start being seen, people will notice not only the positive things, their own opinions are going to fluctuate all around you with positive and negative opinions. And so if you are still differentiating between this is good, I must be super cool because this is good, and this is bad, and that's why it's not really the best for me, you're still like in the position of like, I rather go into the pleasure, position. So, but when you are actually taking it off and say, I don't care what people think, I go with my agenda, I follow my heart, I follow my authentic self, the positive and negative, they no matter that, they don't matter so much. So if you want to, if you still guide yourself like, I'm just going to say things that are going to bring more people towards me because it's just going to strike the ego, for example, you're still not in this moment, like, because positive and negative opinion, they both of them should matter exactly the same. It doesn't matter for you what people think behind your back. All right, so again, let's go to, we were speaking about comparison, and we talk about fear of judgment and fear of rejection today. And so people will always compare you. I remember when I started to, for example, talk a little bit more in a Polish radio station, I had very negative comments sometimes, and there were a lot of positive comments, and it's really like building your ego, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm so good right now, like I am even on a Polish radio. But actually, at the same time, there were negative ones. And the question is, what are you going to do with both? You can't just like close yourself and respond to the positive ones, and negative ones are going to be like, oh yeah, I'm not going to pay attention. Don't pay attention to neither of them. Don't let your ego be part of your own development. Put it aside and focus more on actually your self growth, and don't compare yourself to anyone, only to what is the next thing you can do to put yourself in the front row instead of pushing yourself to the passive state. All right. So if you have any questions, please comment. They are very important for me because your comments actually help me to navigate and understand what else I can do to help you, to guide you, to coach you in those little lives. Because privately, I am working on a more private issues with my clients, but here on those lives, they are really like coaching sessions. So I present each time some topics that are very, very important for my audience. So please don't hesitate and you speak about what is important for you. All right. So number 5, when we are hello, when we are actually fearing rejection and fearing judgment, we start to pretend. And so how do we pretend? We are putting masks on on us. And so how do you see that? Like, if I want to belong to one place, then I might change my clothing, I might change my hairstyle, I might change the jewelry I wear, how I look like, based on how others will judge me. Do I belong or do I not belong to that which I would like to belong? And so again, the question is, like, are you putting mask on in order to be accepted, or you're doing things because you feel it inside of yourself that you have this need? And here is a actually question again about self-identity. We are not the same person as you are not the same person as you were 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 1 year ago. You might not be even the same person that you were yesterday. And so when you hold to your own self, to your identity from many, many years ago, because somebody made you a victim and you are still holding into this victim role, you are actually missing a lot in this life. And so in this lifetime, you have probably situations that will make you go through transformation. You know, a lot of times, many family situations will lead you into some level of change. And I remember, like how I looked many years ago and how I look right now. And right before actually I wrote my book, I went through extremely huge shift inside of me. And this shift was so deep that I felt like I need to change everything in my life. And I didn't change this for somebody else, but I had inside of myself this strong need that I needed to explore how I can feel different with different feelings in my clothes. And so the change that you go through will create change within your own energy and your own identity. So instead of changing for somebody else and putting masks on, go through your own transformational process, because then inside, hi Petra, then you go through your own inside of you. It's just like energy that is forcing you to do something different. So that's is like really, 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 really amazing. And so again, you're not the same person as you were 10 years ago, 5 years ago, even yesterday. The process of your shift can totally change you from day to day, from hour to hour. And I'm not saying it's like a mood, but like you feel this shift emerging from inside of you. All right, so no pretending. There's no need for pretending. The more you pretend, the more you're acting out from this comparison to others, wanting to belong to others, wanting to please others. All of these are very, very huge part of the same thing: fear of rejection and fear of being abandoned, fear of being judged. So if I am not very strong within myself, within my core, then I'm going to constantly look around if I am being accepted the way I am or I am not. If I am not accepted, then I might want to do something like putting masks on, like building my ego up, like to belong. So let's go to number 6, because number 6 talks about the power of our authentic selves. When we drop all of the expectations, when we sit with our fear, we might seriously understand that the more you are living within yourself, the more actually it doesn't matter who has what opinion about you. It doesn't matter if somebody will like you or not like you. You are here on this earth to face your own life, to face your own self. And so, of course, it is about building connection, because we live in a symbiotic life. We live in a place that we connect with each other, and we live in this oneness. So we are all part of the same. But actually, when you place the value on somebody else and their opinions more than you value yourself, you become not only like this flag that is moving constantly and waving on the wind, but actually you're wiping yourself off from your own life energy. And so Let me see here. When we fear that we are going to lose people because they will reject us, they were not the right people for us from the very beginning. Because we pretended so much, we put masks on so much that we forgot who we are, who we were, and based on that, they, when we start bringing ourselves more to the surface, they'll feel like you changed. You changed. I have hard times right now talking to you, understanding you, and that's okay because these were the people that liked us on a certain level. And then when we become more authentic, then not only we are going to clean our own energy from people that were just, pretenders, the same as we were, and we are going to open up for this opportunity to meet people and connect with people that are truly, deeply liking us for the way we are. And so when we start looking at this fear, that it's not like fear of like I'm going to be abandoned and alone, but actually about looking at this fear as an opportunity to grow out of my comfort zone, to get into my core and be strong within myself, we open ourselves actually to bring people that truly connect and resonate with us. And so our communication skills are getting much stronger when we are in our core. We can set up boundaries much more easy in an easier way when we are in the core. We can actually truly connect with people that are like us, because like if we are connecting with people through our masks but our hearts are totally like closed, the quality of our relationship is very like surface based. But when we are actually going into our core, releasing our fears, then we become more connected to people that are like us too. And so that's very, very cool. All right. If you have any questions at all about fear of rejection, fear of abandonment, fear of judgment, then let me know. I have actually let me think of situations. Situations that are connected to fear of rejections, because like let's say we all have friends, and so setting up boundary actually is not very easy, especially with friends. And so here it shows you how somebody is sensitive for you or is not sensitive for you. And you have to pay attention and you have to look what is the reaction when you set up a boundary. So, for example, if you set a boundary and you openly speak, this I don't like, this is very hard for me because, and your explanation, if somebody is going to embrace you and is going to see you and hear you and say, you know what, I can see that. Thank you so much for sharing. I'm going to make shifts. Then is a true friend. But when you speak about your boundary and then there is a either silent treatment or this anger or even making you feel little or not adequate or not not good that you are setting this boundary, that also is an information piece. So this information carries information that you actually were not so important for this person. They were using you for certain pleasures, or maybe your good heart, or whatever it was. But as soon as you got stronger and you placed yourself into the first row, they have really hard times. And so that should be also very powerful information for you. What are you going to do with people that are not capable of accepting you the way you are? So I don't know if I have anything else for today, but maybe just the fact that the more you are in your core, the more you are actually inside growing this authentic self, the less actually you are fearing of abandonment, the less you are actually fearing of being judged. The more you are working on yourself, the more you are releasing these old patterns, these old programs, the more you can stay within this neutral position. I call it like neutral because judgment is heavy energy. Judgment is something that is heavy on us. And so when I am strong within myself and I can face responsibility of my own belief system, I can look eye to eye with anyone that is around me and state my opinion. But when I am just driven by so many people and external validations, then it's very hard for me to look eye to eye because I don't feel that I'm good enough to do it. I don't feel strong enough to do it. So I am follower. I'm following others for their guidance. I'm following others to tell me what to do so I can please them. But the more actually I am strong within myself, the more actually people start respecting me because they start seeing me as a strong person. So I am inviting you to get into your strength, to get into the strong core of you. So you are not the follower, but actually you are the leader of your own life. And you, through your own leadership, you inspire others to join you, to be open, to not compare, to not fluctuate, to not please, to not self sabotage. So we all have potential to release the old patterns, even when the old patterns they started early in our childhood. We as adults, we can actually shift them. Our nervous system and our neurological brain has a map, and this map actually is pliable, and it means that actually we can create those shifts within those structures and improve our lives. So we don't have to be slaves of our own self-identity from many, many years ago, but right now, right here and now, we can create those shifts and step into our strong selves, be empowered, be cultivating our own values and live through them. All right. Thank you so much for joining me today, and send me some love and hugs. I'll see you next Tuesday. And if you have any questions, please send me. Even if you can't, if you don't want to send it in a chat, you can send me private message. You can send me email. You can give me a call, and so I can guide you in very many different ways. All right, I'm sending you hugs. Bye.